Hi. Circular reference is often used in financial modeling, cash sweep statements. But do you know that it's not just wrong from an Excel perspective, but it is also wrong from a mathematical perspective? Let me show that to you with this illustration. What I have in this illustration is a very, very miniature form of a cash sweep statement. I have amount borrowed with me here. The amount borrowed is equal to the overall outflows, and this overall outflow is equal to my business outflow and interest. Interest is calculated as opening balance of loan plus half of the amount borrowed into interest rate. So in a way, interest depends on amount borrowed and amount borrowed depends on interest, which causes this circular reference. First, let us understand why this is logically and mathematically wrong. Think of this. When does a bank charge you interest? Do they charge on a daily basis? They charge us interest at the end of the period. So until the interest is charged, our shortfall is just the core business shortfall, right? So that's what I have here. I'm going to be borrowing this core business shortfall of 200. Let's say I'm borrowing this in the middle of the year. What is going to be the interest amount? The interest amount that banks would be charging at the end of the year is going to be on the opening balance. They'll be charging interest for the full year. And as far as the borrowing is concerned, since it's borrowed for the half the year, they're going to be charging interest for only half of the period. So borrowing amount divided by 2 times interest rate. This number is 60 and my overall summation is 760. This calculation is in line with the banking practice, how it happens, and it also does not have circularity. The interest does not depend on interest in this particular case. And with circular reference, we have a very wrong answer. You may come up with an argument saying that interest is not charged on a yearly basis, it's charged quarterly or monthly basis. Fair enough. Let's see what happens in that case. I here have our monthly calculations, or I can have first, let's look at quarterly calculations. I'm assuming that whatever is my business shortfall, I'll be borrowing 1/4 of it every quarter. Let's assume it's uniformly spread. So in the first quarter, my opening balance is 500. 2.5% interest, because 10% interest is per annum, so per quarter is going to be 2.5%. 2.5% of 500 is 12.5, and whatever amount I borrowed put together gets me my closing balance. I repeat this calculation for all the 4 quarters, so there is an interest on interest compounded on a quarterly basis, but still my closing balance is only 759.53. What if it's on an annual basis? I mean monthly basis. The number is 761.78. This number is still significantly lower than what we got with circular reference. So 2 things. The circular reference gave us wrong answer, and it obviously brings in all the issues that comes with circular reference. Now let's come to the problem. How do we solve for this? It's pretty simple. If it's monthly, which means I'm going to assume that 1/12 of this 200 is going to be borrowed on a monthly basis, right? And the interest also, let's assume, is compounded on a monthly basis. To get this 761.8 without this entire schedule in place, I'm going to be using FV function. Future value, what is the rate of interest? 10% upon 12. Number of period is again 12. What is the amount we borrow in each period? That's going to be the shortfall, the core business shortfall, divided by 12. But I already have 500 outstanding. Let me put it as the present value. I'll close the bracket. I got the same 761.8 without the need for this schedule. I can get rid of the schedule. I don't need them. I would still have my closing balance in place. Let's replace this number for our closing balance. And that means the amount borrowed here is going to be the difference between closing balance and the opening balance. That's 261.8. Our interest is going to be whatever amount I'm borrowing, net of the actual core business shortfall. That's my interest expense. And this model now gives us a more accurate answer without any circularity. I hope you found this useful. But before I end, let's just think and reflect on it. Circular reference was a bad habit from an Excel perspective, which we always knew. But mathematically, also it's giving a wrong answer. But why is everyone following it? What do you think? Share your thoughts with me in the comments. Thank you.